Hi everyone, welcome back to That's Debatable. Keep doing this with my hands, don't know why, but whatever. Obviously, by the title of today's video, you guys know that we're going to be talking about Miss Britney Spears. We have a lot to get into, so I'm just going to go straight into it. This episode is going to be jam-packed with a lot of material, but hopefully, you stay on this ride with me, all hands and feet inside the ride at all times. Thank you very much. And here we go. This one's going to be a good one, so stay tuned. Well, not stay tuned, just watch it. So from the title of this video, you guys can pretty much figure out what we're going to be talking about today. A lot of these conspiracies come from me scrolling on TikTok or me being on YouTube and everybody talking about this. I guess this isn't the first time that this rumor pops up, and it's the whole "is Britney Spears alive" thing, which is a crazy thing to even say about somebody. Like I can't even imagine having millions of people questioning if I'm alive or not. Like that alone is just a scary thought. And this isn't the first time that this rumor pops up, because I know it came up years ago and everybody was like, is Britney Spears okay? What's happening to Britney? And turns out she wasn't okay. It turns out she was in a conservatorship for over 13 years, but we're going to get into all that. Before I get into the whole gag of all of this, I want to preface, because I don't want people to come at me and be like the whole "leave Britney alone" people to come at me. And if you don't understand that reference, Google it. Like that was an iconic moment in history, I will say. This isn't so much more to confirm or deny. Obviously, how would I know? This is more so just to spark the conversation or spark the debate around what is happening. Is she okay? Where is she? As a huge Britney Spears fan, I have been following the lore or conspiracies around her for years now. And it all started when people were like, Britney, if you're not okay, wear yellow. And she would end up wearing yellow in a whole bunch of Instagram videos. And what I'm constantly seeing on my For You page is people being like, her wedding is fake, the engagement is fake, everything is fake, and her management is just pushing things out just for us to think that she's okay. And I'm going to get this started with, obviously, if you don't know, I'll give a little backstory. Britney Spears is in a conservatorship for over 13 years, and she has been very candid about it. She has been very open and honest about it. So much so that we didn't know anything until Britney Spears herself had to come out and dropped a 22-minute long Twitter audio. It wasn't anything. And it sounded a little suspicious. I feel like everything she does is a little suspicious. And basically she talks about how her dad, which I guess was her manager at one point or managed a lot of her life, was basically the person that was running Britney Spears, had her under conservatorship where she wasn't allowed to carry cash. She was not allowed to have children. So they had to she had an IUD that she did not want. Wasn't in charge of her financial situation, wasn't in charge of her personal life. Like she wasn't allowed to go out. She wasn't allowed to do anything under this conservatorship. And that sparked a lot of rumors for people being like, what is happening? Like, this is the biggest star in the world. And now we're being told she can't even control simple parts of her life, like carrying cash. Like, can you imagine? And then Britney, in this 22-minute long audio, was like, I was forced to do a Vegas residency. I was forced to do this tour. And at a point, I honestly just kind of dealt with it because I'm a robot at this point. And which is so sad. Britney Spears, again, being one of the biggest stars in the world, isn't able to manage small, simple parts of her life. Even so much so as taking Britney and having her heavily medicated on things, having her sent to facilities for we don't know what. And again, as fans, people are concerned and people are scared, but there is a lot that we don't know. And the small parts that we do know are scary and sus and doesn't make any sense. For example, in the 22-minute long Twitter audio that she dropped, which, by the way, it wasn't like her talking for 22 minutes like I'm doing right now. It was chopped up in pieces. So you can see where it's like stopped, end, stop, end, stop, end, stop, end, which I thought was a little weird to begin with. But she talks about how one day she spoke in a British accent to her doctor Don't know why. I guess Britney was feeling quirky and cute. I don't know. And 3 days later, she was sent away to a facility and essentially went to the doctors, spoke in a British accent, and then she went home to the house that she owns, she pays for, but again, she's not really in control of any of that because I guess her whole family was there. And her mom was like, by the way, there's going to be people to come see you later. And Britney in the audio says, well, I just thought it was going to be lawyers. I thought it was going to be maybe like record people. Like I didn't know who it was going to be. And next thing you know, there's over 200 paparazzi outside and there's an ambulance and I'm getting taken out and there's paparazzi taking pictures, and you can see this is all on the internet for you to see, and it's a little bit like trigger warning for anybody who, you know, would get triggered out of that. If you want to Google that, do that on your own time. I thought that we were just going to meet with lawyers, and all of a sudden I'm being told that I have to be taken away. And come to find out, in the audio, she says this was all premeditated. And this was because a woman told my dad about this facility and about doing all this and whatever. And turns out my mom was actually somebody that was in it. And they enforced it and they were all a part of this. And I did not know this. Because of all of that, Britney was then obviously taken away and heavily medicated. And she says they want to do this because they want to silence me. They don't want me to tell the truth. And everybody freaked out and was like, wait, what the hell is happening with Britney? Britney Spears' meltdown when she just shaved her head. And I think that was in like 2008. And that's when the conservatorship started, because then they were like, well, Britney can't be in charge of herself. She doesn't know how to manage herself. She doesn't know how to take care of herself. And that's why she's under a conservatorship. But at the same time, it's like, well, why was it that she couldn't take care of herself? Like, what was happening behind the scenes that made it so that people would be like, well, no, she has to be under conservatorship because she's a little loony. But it's almost like, well, yeah, of course you're going to be loony if you're heavily medicated all the time and being told what to do as a 30-year-old woman, superstar icon that everybody adores and loves, and you don't even have autonomy over your own self. Like, that is going to drive people a little crazy, obviously. It would drive anybody crazy. And rumors started spiraling again of what is happening with Britney Spears when Jeffree Star, and I want to just go on here, we don't stand Jeffree Star. I know he said a lot of controversial things in the past, but he did tweet this one thing where he said, and I'm going to read it, I was going to expose everything. In a matter of days, the Hollywood elite tried to ruin my entire career, villainize me, and they flooded the news with lies to discredit me. This is referring back to, this was like, I think like 3-4 years ago, when he's referring to the whole like moment where he's like, I'm going to tell everything, all the deepest, darkest secrets of the industry. I'm not holding back. I'm going to put everybody on blast and let you guys know what is happening behind the scenes. And I guess the Hollywood elites, I don't know who that is. The Illuminati? No, I mean, I don't know. But basically, they did tear down his career. I remember when Jeffree Star just was on top of the world with Shane Dawson, dropping this huge like makeup palette, and all of a sudden one day out of the next he is nobody. And obviously it's because of a lot of controversial things he said, so you know, he is, you know, you gotta take everything he says with a grain of salt. But this next part is the part that had people kind of being like, whoa. And it's when he tweeted, if you guys only knew the truth about what they're doing to Britney and Kanye. Britney and Kanye are not in the same boat, because Kanye has said a lot of things that I do not stand behind. But I do relate their experiences in the fact that, for example, Kanye West had, when he had his whole like little spiral moment, he went on Instagram because that was like his platform of choice, and so is Britney's, because Britney's Instagram is flooded with a whole bunch of like cryptic messages that fans are trying to not debunk, but trying to like go through and analyze. Kanye West said, and this is why I'm relating them to, not for any other reason, they're not telling you the truth of what they're trying to do to me. They're trying to kill me. This is what my physical therapist, I believe, it might have been his physical therapist, or somebody, a personal trainer, my bad, his personal trainer sent to him on messages, and he screenshotted the messages and posted it on Instagram. And if this is how your personal trainer talks to you, slay, but get a new one. But it was so weird. And he basically, his personal trainer was like, Kanye, you have to take everything down. Stop talking like this. Like, you are doing too much. You need to stop. His then personal trainer sends a message being like, do you not want to see your kids ever again? Because we will send you back to that place. Relax, take everything down before we get involved. That's his personal trainer. And Kanye West, being Kanye West, posted that on Instagram for the world to see and said, is this how y'all personal trainers talk to y'all? Because this is just a little snippet to show you guys what's happening. And they're trying to control me. They're trying to take over my life. After that, that sparked a whole separate conversation of then, wait, what is happening to them? Because obviously Kanye West deals with a whole bunch of mental illness. And he has, obviously we all know the I'm Bipolar, It's Awesome album. But he was like, there was a moment where they were trying to heavily medicate me. They were trying to send me to these places. And one day I just woke up and essentially now I'm here and they're telling me that, oh, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. Kind of similar to Britney Spears. And I guess the conversation sparked up again after she had this whole entire wedding. And I know that if Britney Spears were to step out anywhere, there's going to be mobs of paparazzi everywhere she goes. And maybe that's why she's not stepping out. Or maybe they basically have her confined to her house because they don't want people to see what they've done to Britney Spears. And she had this whole entire wedding. She got married to this guy named Sam, and people think that the wedding was fake. And when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, what the hell is happening in that crib? And why can she not leave that crib? Her wedding was in her house and the reason we know this is because Jason Alexander, I guess her ex-husband or her, I don't even know, ex-husband, crashed the wedding. And not only did he crash the wedding, he went on, I think it was Instagram or Facebook Live while he was crashing the wedding. And in the video, obviously people are going crazy. He goes, they're taking it for two things. They're like, either he's a crazy ex or he's a crazy concerned ex. Because in the video on live, he's like showing the thing. He's like, where's Britney? Where's Britney? Like, tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. Where is Britney? And they're like, you have to get out of here. You have to get out of here. You have to get out of here. And then he walks and you could tell that he's in her house. And he walks to a room. And inside that room is the same place where Britney had her reception and her wedding. And he goes, yeah, let me show you this bullshit wedding. These are his words, not mine. Let me show you this bullshit wedding. Like, look what they're doing. Like, this is Jason Alexander. And like, where is Britney? Tell me where she is. Tell me where she is. And that sparked a whole nother thing. She was placed on a temporary controlled order. And essentially what that is you're not in the conservatorship, but this is a kind of in between, almost like the bridge of you getting your freedom, where we have to advise certain people. For example, TMZ reported that, TMZ is somebody that we don't stand, because they actually came out with a whole documentary about Britney, but TMZ is very much pushed by whoever is giving them money. So whatever narrative, we'll get into that. We'll get into TMZ because that's also another part of why it's a little weird. What they're trying to do, they basically said like, oh, Britney Spears is not allowed around knives. So just to be aware of that, like, so in a sense, they're still kind of controlling her life as if she's a little girl. TMZ reported that, and that's what her father said. It's like, don't put her around knives. She's really dangerous with da-da-da-da. And it's like, again, this is a grown woman who has made millions, and not only for herself, for everybody on her camp, has made millions. And now she's being told what she can and cannot do. So back to the wedding. When Jason Alexander did that live, they ended up restraining him, and there's actual pictures of it on TMZ. And TMZ was the one that reported, oh, they got a restraining order against him because he just decided to get in there because he's a crazy ex. That was the narrative that I'm assuming Britney's camp wanted to push out. He's just a crazy ex. This isn't a bullshit wedding. This is real. Britney Spears is happy now. She's not in a conservatorship. She has her freedom. It is what it is. She's living her best life. In that wedding, a little weird couple things were happening. One, the wedding was in her house, which, I mean, I guess a lot of celebrities do that. Like Ariana Grande had her wedding in her home. So that's not too far-fetched, but it's just something to add in there because I know that some people have like, think it's a little sus that it was in her house, because why can't she leave her house? But another thing was Britney Spears didn't even know who was attending her wedding. In her Instagram, again, we can have a whole separate episode of just going through Britney's Instagram and trying to like figure out what it is she's saying. But I'm just going to read a little bit. Oh, by the way, Jason Alexander's direct quote was, "Here's the inside scoop on this bullshit wedding." That was exactly what he said. And that's what had people kind of going a little crazy of just like, what do you mean the inside scoop? Like, I thought this was just a wedding. I thought that we were just kikiing and wearing a white dress. Because the rumor is that she wasn't even present for her wedding. In her Instagram caption, she was referring to, she, for whatever reason, said, oh, like, I was at my wedding and people were doing stuff. And for whatever reason, she says, I haven't performed in 7 years, which is not true because it's been 5 years since Britney Spears performed. But she kept mentioning the number 7 in her wedding Instagram captions, kept referring to it. And then this is the connection. She then refers to Prince. And she's like, oh, I love Prince, by the way. 7777777, whatever. And Prince has a song and where he says the number 7 a lot. And this is why people put this connection. I'm not necessarily sure if it's true, but this is a connection that people made. This is what I saw on the internet, and this is what the girlies are saying. Because of the fact that she was mentioning the number 7 so much, for example, I haven't performed in 7 years. It was so crazy to see, a microphone and be around all this stuff, when actually it was 5 years. And then she's mentioned something else about the number 7. Prince has a song where he says the number 7 a lot. Well, he sings it. And the song is called Let's Pretend We're Married. Is that not weird? For her on her wedding pictures, posting on Instagram. Again, Britney Spears' Instagram captions are very cryptic. So it's like you kind of have to really dive in there and really kind of figure it out. Number 7, he mentions it in the song a lot of times. She mentioned it on her Instagram captions a lot and mentions Prince. And she's like, by the way, I love Prince. Like, okay, girl, like, why are you, what? That's like if I get married and I'm like, by the way, I love Drake. Okay, thank you so much for that information. But obviously nothing happens by accident, and everything that she says, she kind of has to beat around the bush for. And that is when people were like, this wedding is fake, because the song is called Let's Pretend We're Married. And she didn't directly refer to that song, but she did refer to the number 7 and Prince. And when people tried to look through, that's what they came up with. Not only that, is in her Instagram captions, again, she was like, oh, I didn't even know that these people were going to show up. And it's like, well, how did you not know that these people are going to show up if it's your wedding? And what people think is her team, probably her mom, her dad, and everybody else that manages Britney Spears were like, you know what? We need to stop feeding the narrative. We need to start changing the narrative that she's okay, that she's free, and that she's allowed to do whatever she wants. Because one of the things that she wasn't allowed to do was get married. So they were like, if we do this wedding, this is going to show her fans and everybody and the world that she is okay. But Britney Spears, being Britney Spears, was like, oh, but I'm going to drop a message or two here just to let you guys know that I'm really not okay. Because there's a picture, for whatever reason, she has a picture with Madonna. What's her name? Huge designer for Donatella, Selena Gomez, Drew Barrymore, Paris Hilton's mom, Kathy. There's that iconic picture, and people were like, wait, this is such a weird group of people. So she has that picture that went everywhere. And in the caption, she writes, oh my God, look at all the people that decided to show up to my wedding. Like, I didn't even know that they were going to be here. That's so crazy. And again, if it's your own wedding, you would think that you would be in charge of the guest list, and you're not just going to invite or have people just randomly show up. And I'm sure Selena Gomez wasn't just like, we should crash Britney Spears' wedding today. Like, really random. So what people think is, how can we legitimize this wedding? How can we make it seem like it's real? Let's invite A-list celebrities, and have her take pictures with them and make it seem as if it actually happened. And this is legit. What do you mean? Selena Gomez is there. How is this wedding fake if Selena Gomez is there? How is this wedding fake if Paris Hilton, Madonna is there, Drew Barrymore? Like, no, this has to be real. But obviously, Britney Spears, being Britney, was like, I didn't even know these people were going to be here. Like, okay, I guess slay. They're at my wedding now. And also, another person, she was like, takes a picture of somebody, and she goes, oh my God, by the way, this is the lead actor of Baby Driver, or whatever that movie is. You don't even know these people. Like, it was very clear and evident by her Instagram captions that she didn't even know these people, and they were there. So obviously there's something happening behind the scenes of just like, well, what do you mean you don't know these people? It's your wedding. It's one of the biggest days of your life. This is something that you've been talking about for so long, and you don't even know your guest? Like, is that not weird? So that's why people think that the wedding is fake. And they were like, well, this is definitely a ploy from management to just try to make her seem like she's happy and she's moving forward. And Sam, her husband now, they think what they're assuming is essentially that he is in on all of this, and he is like, oh yeah, Britney Spears, we're all good. Like, you know, Britney's is just so, she's on this new medication that makes her so sleepy, and that's why you haven't been seeing too much of her. Which is weird within itself, because it's like, what do you mean she's on medication that makes her so sleepy? Like, what medication is she on? I know it's not NyQuil. Like, I know NyQuil be like knocking me out, pero tampoco. Like, oh my God. So it has to be something crazy that it's like, well, why can't we see her? Where is she? And I think they did something with like a restaurant where they went out, and it did not look like it was a real thing. And something else to note is recently, I think this was a couple months ago, Paris Hilton had a birthday party for her husband, and they posted pictures of Britney Spears being at this birthday party. And everybody was like, TMZ went crazy because they were like, whoa, Britney, like, how did you get out of the house and not get caught? Like, what the hell? Britney is here. Like, that's so crazy. And this is where it gets a little crazy and a little kind of scary, honestly, because people were posting pictures of this. Like, they were reporting like, oh, Britney Spears is here. Demi Lovato was there. All these A-list celebrities were there. And then Britney herself came out, and I'm going to read the post. She goes on about like, sorry about my post from yesterday, whatever, da-da-da-da, none of that is relevant. She goes, also, referring to the pictures of her at this birthday party. Also, have no idea about these pics of me from a birthday party. I haven't been to a birthday party in forever. And as for the pictures, they have to be from years ago. Kind of weird that no one is talking about it. Which makes no sense whatsoever. Anyways, here's the outfit. Da-da-da-da. So Britney Spears herself is being like, whoa, why are you posting pictures about me like I was there, Paris Hilton? I think her husband's name is Cade, something like that. Why is TMZ reporting, oh yeah, she was there? Again, TMZ is very much somebody that will report on stuff, depends on where the money's coming from. So what fans think is, oh, so what has been happening essentially is, again, her camp. When I say her camp, I'm probably referring to like managers, mom, dad, like all these people. We all know that like her dad is not a good guy. He's the one that enforced the conservatorship. He was the one that was in charge of her conservatorship. Was basically like, let's make everybody think that she's okay by having her be at this birthday party and post these pictures that she was at years ago and make it seem as if it's happened recently. And then we'll have TMZ report on it, and TMZ will be like, whoa, like, yeah, this is so cool. Like, oh my God. And everybody will be like, oh, she's fine. She's at a birthday party. But Britney herself is saying, I have not been to a birthday party in years. And why is nobody talking about the fact that these pictures, I was never there? And is that not weird? What is this narrative that people are trying to push about me? And I'm going to be the one to say that it's not true. That is weird. And why is nobody talking about this? And why is nobody saying anything? Because Britney Spears herself has to come out and be like, that's not me. I mean, it is me, but that picture is from years ago. It's not from anything recent. So why are they trying to make it seem like it's something that's recent? That's another weird thing that I was like, okay, whatever. And then an example, Meghan Trainor went on an interview, and it's because her management was Britney Spears' old management. I want to note that also Britney Spears' old management, like back in the day when she first started, had some concerns and publicized those concerns. And they were like, where is Britney? And is she on is she medicated with the stuff that she was medicated with beforehand? Because that's what we think is happening. And that's, again, when fans started going crazy and they're like, what the hell? But on to the Meghan Trainor thing, because this is another thing that happened. Meghan Trainor's management was the same management that managed Britney for when she was under the conservatorship. And she was on a podcast with Trisha Paytas. Love Trisha. We love Trisha. Trisha is always the one that gets like the juiciest scoop. And Trisha Paytas was like, oh, like, yeah, you know, like, and people are asking stuff about Britney. Like, and the moment Trisha Paytas says Britney Spears' name, Meghan Trainor's like, shh, mm-mm. And she's like, wait, what? Like, what's happening? She goes, no, I can't talk about that. And she's like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't realize. She goes, no, I can't talk about that. Yeah, no, move past. Like, move past. And you can see the fear. And Meghan Trainor's like, cannot talk about Britney. And then maybe it's because of the fact that her management is the same management that Britney was under. And they advise her, do not speak about Britney. By no means, whatever you know is what you know, but you cannot speak about this. And you could see the fear in like Meghan Trainor's face. And I'm sure if you go on TikTok and like look it up, everybody can find that clip pretty easily. Of just being like, nope, can't talk about Britney, but my management is amazing. Yeah, they work closely with the Kardashians, and that's how we got Kris Jenner in the music video. Like, she pivots to something else completely different. And it's a little weird. It's a little scary. And what is happening with Britney? Like, I don't know. So now the next conspiracy that everybody is having is, because Britney came out a couple months ago. She goes, guys, I'm alive. I'm well. Take a chill pill. I'm fine. But of course, people do not believe her. And recently she deleted her Instagram, which is not something that's weird for Britney, because sometimes she'll delete her Instagram. But this was a couple months ago where she deleted her Instagram, and fans got so worried and so stressed out that they were calling the police. Like, what? They were calling the police, and the police ended up showing up to Britney Spears' house to do a wellness check. And when they do a wellness check, they cannot leave the property until they make sure that everybody is okay. And I don't know if you guys know about Gabby Hanna, but same thing happened to her, where she went on a spiral, and that was actually pretty dangerous. Like, she invited a stranger into her home, and this stranger was somebody that knew that Gabby Hanna was on a spiral, and he ended up showing up at her house, and he was like, hey, like, you want to go for a run? And same thing, people ended up calling the police at Gabby Hanna's house to do a wellness check, and they cannot leave. So that's why we kind of have some insight as to how these things work. But police went to her house. They were like, are you okay? And Britney was like, whoa, yeah, I'm fine. Like, what is happening? Like, why are you at my door right now? And then they were like, we just want to make sure, because we got a lot of calls from concerned people, and we need to make sure that you're okay. This message on her Instagram caption, there's a certain way that Britney writes, and it's very, like, I don't want to say grammatically incorrect, but she just goes crazy with it. Like, you can very much tell that it's Britney Spears writing these messages. Like, she'll use emojis. She doesn't spell words right all the time. Like, it is, every single caption kind of looks like that. And it's super, like, all over the place. But this one message that she posted to kind of tell her fans that she's fine was all written grammatically correct. No emoji, no little smiley face, no slay button, none of that. It was very out of the ordinary to how Britney Spears typically writes her Instagram captions. And she essentially was like, guys, I'm okay. Thank you so much for the concern, but like, this needs to stop. Like, you can't just call the police and have them show up at my door. Like, thank you so much for the concern, but don't do that. And the reason why people noticed the difference between how that was written and her other Instagram captions was because they think is her management wrote that up and was like, we need to stop having people come to the house because we don't want them to see something that they should not see. Another example, which is also scary to think about, like, her team wrote out this message and was like, Britney, post this. And I'm sure that's happened plenty of times with other artists, and, you know, management teams have a lot of control over these people. But with Britney in particular, it's always been this really weird sense of, like, they treat her as if she's like a 6-year-old child. And even the whole thing of her Vegas residency, back to the 22-minute long audio that she posted on Twitter, she talks about how she was not allowed to go out. She was not allowed to, you know, party, drink, do any of that stuff. And how it really took a toll on her mental health, because she was like, I was being idolized and put on this huge pedestal, and people would consider me to be one of the biggest superstars in this world, and yet I couldn't even simply go out with my friends after the fact because of the fact that I had people telling me, no, after the show is done, you have to come back home, go to sleep, because we have to do this and this and this, and you can't say no because you're under a conservatorship. So we are basically in charge of everything that you do. And she talks about how her dancers would go out after the show and they'd be like, Britney, come. And she already was like, I can't. I literally can't because I don't know what they'll do to me. And that statement alone like shook the internet because they're like, what are they going to do to Britney? Are they doing the same thing that they're doing, that Kanye is saying that they did to him, which is heavily medicating him and making him feel like he shouldn't be in charge of himself because he's not capable or responsible enough to be in charge of himself? And you know, those are two different things, because Kanye, clearly you see, if you give Kanye a little bit, this man is going to say whatever he wants. So maybe, you know, there is some truth in that. But it's a little crazy how in Britney Spears' situation, everything is literally, every small aspect of her life is controlled. And so much so that even her kids, which it like hurt my heart when I saw these videos, because her own children recorded a video of Britney Spears basically being a mom, like being like, this is my house, I am a woman, and you are to respect me as your mother. And they were calling her crazy. They were like, you're crazy. Like, this is why we like to stay with dad. This is why. And obviously when kids are young, they're very impressionable, right? So if they have people around them, for example, like their dad, their grandpa, their abuelita, I mean, I'm sure they don't call her abuela, but whatever. That's what I call my abuela. You know, people in her camp constantly telling Britney Spears, you're crazy, and you need to be on medication because you can't handle yourself. If kids are seeing that constantly, kids are going to pick up on that, especially when they're pretty young, and be like, well, she is crazy. What do you mean? Why are you reprimanding me? Like, and it's simple things. It was a simple thing of her being like, I told you to not do this, and as your mom, don't do this. This is my house. And this is not anything out of the ordinary. It wasn't like Britney Spears was over there giving her like a chunk, like la chancleta up to them. Because, I mean, even that's normal in a Latino household if you get the chancla. Like, I'm not going to look at my mom and be like, you're a psycho. I'm going to be like, well, you know what? Maybe I deserved a little chancla to, you know, my butt. But whatever, it is what it is. And even so much so, I think Britney Spears took her kid's phone away because they were walking barefoot somewhere and she was like, put your shoes on. And they were like, no. And obviously we don't know what happens behind closed doors. But from what we've seen, for them to even record a video of their mom and post it to the internet, knowing what that is, like, no, just to justify, see, she is crazy, when it's like, no, she was being a regular mom. She was telling you to put your goddamn shoes on because it's brick as hell outside and she doesn't want you to get sick, and you didn't listen to her, so she took your phone away. And in the video he goes, yeah, you think that's okay? You think that that's a justified what's the word I'm looking for? A justified response to take my phone away because I didn't have my shoes on? She goes, yes. Like, you're not listening to me. So clearly I have to reprimand you in some way, shape, or form. Like, I'm not crazy. Don't call me crazy. He goes, you're crazy. Like, you, and maybe this is just banter between like a kid and a mom. But again, the audacity. Obviously there's something reinforcing that narrative for those kids to be posting a video of their superstar mother. Like, can you imagine if Northwest grabbed the phone and said, Mom, you're reprimanding me right now? Look at what Kim Kardashian's doing. Like, those kids are under lockdown. Like, we all saw what Mason did when Mason Disick made his own Instagram and was going on live and spreading business about the Kardashians and how quickly they shut that down. Those kids are on lock. We are not getting no videos out of the Kardashians that we're not supposed to see. But Britney's kids just posted to the internet. Yeah, she is crazy. Look at it. Like, the audacity and the irresponsibility that the irresponsibleness, I don't even know if that was a word, honestly. I might have just made that up. But of them doing that just goes to show something behind the scenes is happening, and it's happening so that they think it's okay to do this. And they think it's okay to exploit their mom. Just like her mom has been exploited for years. She's been in the industry for over, 20 years? And she has been exploited. She has been humiliated. She has been controlled. She has been through the ringer. She has been through so much, and we probably don't even understand half of it. So much so that even like her voice, she wasn't even in control of her own voice. If you listen to how Britney Spears actually sings, she has a deep, coarse voice. It's not the, I mean, it probably was a, woo, kind of slay though. What the, get me a Grammy, bitch. Get me, that was, I'm sorry, I'm too ahead of myself right there. But they made it to a point where like, you have to sing in that baby voice. You have now, and she was like, well, I'm not 18 anymore. I'm not 15 years old anymore where I can do the little high-pitched baby voice and have it tell. I am a grown woman. I'm a grown woman who has been through a lot. And obviously when you go through trauma, it's scientifically proven that your brain chemistry just changes when you go through traumatic experiences. So even sometimes down to like your voice will simply just change. And obviously over time, and it's just a normal human thing. Look at Beyonce. When Beyonce first came out, Destiny's Child, her voice was very high. Her voice was very like, there wasn't too much bass behind Beyonce's voice. Amazing voice. But now if you listen to Beyonce's voice, it's a lot deeper. Why? Because she's a grown woman. But because of the fact that they were like, no, we're going to keep you in your I'm a slave for you era for the rest of your life. So now if you can't do that, you're going to lip sync. And there's many videos of Britney Spears lip syncing. And she herself even says, I was doing shows and I knew they were terrible and I knew that they sucked. And I couldn't do anything about it because I couldn't say no. And the one time, actually, this is really scary. The one time that she accounts in the 22-minute long audio, there was one point where we were going to do, after the Vegas residency, she was supposed to do a whole nother concert, a whole nother tour. And like they were working this woman like a mule, like a donkey, like full on, like taking everything out of her, like exhausting her after a Vegas residency that, again, she was still under a conservatorship, couldn't do anything. Right after that ended, she had to go on a tour. And she was like, I didn't want to do the tour. I didn't even want to do the Vegas residency. I was done. I was tired and I didn't want to do it. And while they were preparing for the tour, again, she doesn't really have autonomy over herself. So it's not like she can really say anything. This one time that she did try to say something, though, is this experience when she's rehearsing and I guess the choreographer wanted her to do a dance move. And Britney Spears was like, no. And she says in the Twitter audio that when she said no, everybody went quiet. And she was like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't like that move. Maybe, we don't know what the move was. Maybe it was just like, the Ice Spice where she goes, ew. But I doubt it was that. But whatever the move was, Britney Spears didn't want to do it. And she said, no, I don't want to do that. The room went quiet. And then you hear like her team or her camp just be like, and she goes, and like a day later, 2 days later, I was sent away to a facility and the tour was canceled. All because Britney Spears decided to be like, I don't want to do that. And I should have a choice in what I want to do and what I don't want to do. So I'm saying no. And instead of her team being like, okay, well, Britney says no, that's how it is with every artist. Do you ever see Ariana Grande perform or do choreography, anything? She goes, I don't like that. Let's do something else. Okay, quick. The artist said no, we got to change it up. If the artist says jump, you say how high. That's typically the relationship. Because again, these are artists, these are A-list celebrities. They have a lot of power, but not Britney Spears. And when Britney Spears says, no, I don't like that. Okay, well, now she's crazy. We have to send her away. And that's exactly what they did. And they canceled the tour. She has not performed since, which is scary and it sucks. And she was like, I didn't realize by me saying no to a dance move constitutes me being a crazy psycho that has to be sent away and put on like medication just because of the fact that I'm not allowed to do it. So moving forward, now Britney Spears came out and she was like, I'm alive, I'm well, it's okay, everybody don't worry about it. People still think that was just cap. Like it was set up by her camp. And they're like, well, I know the argument's gonna be like, well, what about the videos that she's posting now? She's still posting. They think what I've seen on the internet is that they're using artificial intelligence because AI. You see, maybe it's my dyslexia or something, but the words I do, ABC, I don't know. But they're using artificial intelligence to record videos and have somebody pretend they're Britney Spears. And who would be more perfect to pretend and put AI on their face other than her little baby sis? Jamie Lynn Spears. Dun, dun, dun. But Jamie Lynn, we do not stand Jamie Lynn Spears. That is one thing that's not up for debate. We do not stand her. She actually released a book filled with lies. And Britney Spears came out and was like, how dare you write a book about, oh, all my traumatic experiences, this and this and this. That book is filled with lies. I fed this family. I was the one that took care of this family. The reason we have a roof over our house is because of me. And I don't even have a say in all of this. And you want to say that your experience was so traumatic because I was the bigger sister and you lived in my shadow? Of course you lived in my shadow. I'm Britney Spears and you're Jamie Lynn Spears. You had your Zoe 101 moment and then you got pregnant. They think Jamie Lynn is doing these weird like dance moves. We all have seen those weird Britney moves, and they're using artificial intelligence to put Britney's face over it and to make it seem like she's alive and well. Now, what people are saying, this is on the far deep end of what people are saying. They think that Britney Spears is no longer alive. They think that if she is alive, she's probably connected to a whole bunch of tubes and being heavily medicated, putting all different types of drugs in her, and essentially just using her likeness to continue to make money for the camp. And Britney Spears was supposed to drop a book, actually, that was going to expose everything. And Britney was like, I'm writing this book, and I'm telling the truth. I'm talking about things that I've never talked about before. I'm finally going to write my truth, and it's going to come out. It was supposed to come out February. A-list celebrities went crazy. They were like, she got sent so many lawyers and so many like seasons, like all of this stuff. And she was like, I can say whatever I want to say. This is my life. I'm talking about my life. And if you just so happen to be a part of it, sucks to suck. Why were you reinforcing this? Why were you okay with this when you know that I'm Britney Spears? I am Britney goddamn Spears. Like, and you were just like the whole Paris Hilton thing. Why was Paris Hilton okay with that? Like, they also think we love Paris. We really do love Paris Hilton. I love her. She's such a slay. But they also think that she's helping reinforcing this narrative that Britney Spears is okay when they know that she's not. And it seems to be that a lot of A-list celebrities know what's happening, but aren't willing to say anything about it. So that's why when Britney Spears says, I'm going to drop my book, A-list celebrities shook in their boots. They were quaking. And they're like, ooh, you're not going to make me look bad. Like, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. Again, back to on the far deep end of things, they think Britney Spears is one, either not alive anymore, or, oh, I just yelled, or she's just so medicated that she's not even like a person. Like, it's not even a person that can have a conversation. It's not somebody that, you know, it's not the Britney Spears we once knew and love. And again, this episode isn't to confirm or deny anything, because we don't know anything. The only stuff that we know is the stuff that I shared. And there's so much more that goes into it. But obviously I'm not going to make this like a 5-hour episode. So this is just like really big snippets and recent things that have happened. But this episode is more so just to cause a debate around it. Like, what is happening with her? Is she okay? Is she not okay? I didn't want to give my opinion on it because I just didn't want people to start coming at me crazy, but you already know I don't care. So what I personally think is happening is we are seeing the results of somebody who has been abused and somebody that has been traumatized for the majority of her life. And the Britney Spears that is here today is not the Britney Spears that we know and love. That was 10, 15 years ago. I think they have worked her like a dog. And at this point, she is no longer the Britney Spears that we know and love. Is she alive? Maybe, probably. She probably is, but she isn't in the right state of mind, if that makes sense. That would be my opinion. I don't think it goes as far to be like, she's dead. Like, that would be a whole, like, oh my God. First of all, that would be the craziest thing ever if Britney Spears is actually dead this whole time. Whatever. But I just think that we're seeing the repercussions of what fame at that level can do to somebody. Britney Spears has been around since the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. If y'all don't know, she was in the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse with, and by the way, this was a star-studded season. So whoever that casting director was, props on you, because it was Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, and somebody else. I forget. But them three alone, like, whoa, like that is a star-studded Mickey Mouse Clubhouse cast. So if as somebody who has been in the industry since you are a child and then blew up and had like this whole era where people are just like idolizing you and loving you, and you can't even talk about what's happening to you behind the scenes because, again, you don't have any autonomy over yourself. And not only that, you're experiencing fame at the highest level that anybody could touch. Like a Beyonce type of fame, like a Michael Jackson type of fame. Like Britney Spears is an icon. And that alone will drive somebody crazy. Now imagine if you are under a conservatorship where you can't even touch your own money. You can't even carry your own cash. That level of fame is something that we will never, a lot of us, let me not put myself in there because I'll experience it one day. Hey. But majority of people will never be able to understand what it is like to be at that level. That alone is kind of, it's isolating. It's a little like, it's such an isolating experience because who can you really talk to about it? I mean, I'm like, she can't talk to about with us. Like, she was like, do you guys not even being able to go to a grocery store. Like Michael Jackson also talked about this, about him having such an isolating experience because of the level of fame that he had. Where so much so where they literally had to rent out a whole entire mall and have his friends and workers and people that work for him walk around this grocery store and pretend like they're actually shopping just so that Michael Jackson can go to a grocery store. That's how these people have to go. Like, they're not allowed to go outside freely. They're not allowed to go down the block to their friend's house without it being a mob. So that alone can drive somebody crazy. And now imagine they're putting, like, heavily medicating these people, well, Britney Spears in particular, since for years now. I think we're living in the result of all of that. The results of being on medication for how many years? Like, I can't even, I don't want to just say a number just to say a number, but let's just say even for 10 years, right? Which I'm sure is probably longer because the conservatorship was 13 years. So let's ballpark it up, 15 years of being heavily medicated just so that you don't have a say of what you can and can't do. We're just living in the results of that now. Like, you can see it in her videos. You can see it in her videos. Actually, really weird thing that I saw pop up, which I don't know if I necessarily believe this, but there was a video where Britney was dancing and she goes like this. And when she goes like this, right here, and maybe it's just the filter, but right here you can see it's not entirely Britney Spears' face. And that's where the rumors started coming out that they're using artificial intelligence to recreate these videos to have people think that she's okay. And when she goes like this, swoop, right here, people pause it because people are crazy. Again, imagine living like this. Like, you can't even post a video without somebody literally pausing it every second to see if something's happening or what's happening behind in the background or whatever it may be. And when she goes like this, her face changes. Now, I don't know if that was just like people being over analytical of things or if it actually is evidence to show that she's not living her best life right now. I genuinely don't think that she's living her best life right now. But that was just another case in point of like, well, who is this? What are they doing? What are they doing to her? And I think at this point now they're kind of dealing with the repercussions of everything. Like I said, like dealing with the repercussions of heavily medicating her, of traumatizing her, of having her work 24/7, 365 days. Like, nobody can understand that. Nobody will ever be able to understand that. And I remember when Britney was doing like her Vegas residency and they were going to do like this big shock reveal, and she comes out and there's like no life behind her eyes. And it's the saddest thing ever. And that was what, like 5-6 years ago? Like, imagine where she's at right now. Imagine where she's at right now, where she's still, I don't believe that she's free. I don't believe that she's allowed to just do whatever she wants to do. I think that she's still under some type of control, whether it be her parents or her camp or her team, whoever it may be. I wouldn't necessarily agree that she's not alive, but I would agree and say that she's not the Britney Spears that we know and love anymore. And it's really sad to see kind of the effects of what not only the music industry, but that level of fame can do to you, and how much control people can have over one person. Because at a point, she was a money machine. She was a money machine for these people. And she says it. She was like, I was a robot. I was here to pay other people's bills. Because it's not like I can play with my own money. It's not like I can go out and enjoy myself, enjoy the fruits of my labor. Like, when have you seen Britney Spears out and about? When have you seen Britney Spears, if she wanted to, she can just leave and travel the world. It's not like she's dropping music on a tour, but for whatever reason, she just stays in her house. And that's not a coincidence. At least I don't think it's a coincidence. I feel like she's just trapped in there. She's trapped in there. They're calling it a day. And kind of the same thing that they kind of do with Michael Jackson, where they prescribed him pills and he took, and everybody always knew that Michael Jackson was like on some type of medication. I mean, these people have to be. Like, imagine that experience. But those medications ended up killing him, and he ended up dying. And Michael Jackson is no longer, and that's confirmed. I mean, unless he did like what Tupac did and went to Cuba, I don't think Michael Jackson's here anymore. If you guys have watched The Idol on HBO Max, that just came out. Okay. That, you can kind of see a little bit of the behind the scenes of it, of how an artist, what really happens with an artist. And the whole time I'm thinking about it, I'm like, this is on a small level. Now imagine if we ever got to see the behind the scenes of what actually happened with Britney. Because that was a little crazy, just watching how her team maneuvered around Jocelyn, which is the main character on The Idol, and how really much control they have of her. And it's crazy to see, and it's a little upsetting, but, you know, is Britney alive? Is Britney not alive? I don't know. But that's why everything is debatable, and you guys can come to your own conclusions. And again, there's a lot more evidence on the internet. Y'all can just look for it. But it's a little sad. It's a little scary, but I guess that's where we're living now. So I hope Britney Spears is okay, because we love Britney, but that's pretty much what I have for today's episode. I know today was a little bit of a heavy one. And again, this is no disrespect to Britney. I'm not trying to push anything on. It's just really something that fans are concerned. And it was an interesting conspiracy. This conspiracy has been happening for years now. And hopefully one day we get to find out what is happening with Britney. Will that day ever come? I don't know, but I'm really hoping for it. But that's pretty much all I have for today. Leave in the comments what you guys think, or any other evidence that you guys have seen or found. And what you guys think of the whole situation. I think it's a situation sad, but it's the situation that, I mean, we're not living in it. If for anything, it's the saddest for Britney. But I want to know what you guys think about it. Is she alive? Is she not alive? Do you think that there's something happening behind the scenes? What have you guys seen? All of it. I want to hear about it. But again, that's it for That's Debatable today. Thanks for listening. Yeah. Damn, this one made me a little sad, but it's okay. It was a conversation we had to have. Love you, Britney. We hope you're okay. We really hope you're okay, girl. Please let us know. And if you're not okay, wear yellow again, because that's how we figured it out the first time. And if the one thing her fans are going to do is figure it out. So I'll see you guys on, well, I mean, I don't know. I won't see you guys, but I'll see y'all next week. That's it for today. Thanks for listening. Y'all already know what to do. Comment, like, subscribe, all of it. Post notifications, turn them on. And yeah, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I want to hear about it. But that's it for today. That's it for me, at least. So I'll see you guys. Happy Pride. Oh, wait, this probably won't be out for Pride, but happy Pride nonetheless. Pride is all year. So I'll see y'all. Bye.